Hello, welcome to Miniature Realms. My name's Stuart. Warhammer Quest Darkwater is with us, or very nearly. It's up for pre-order now if you're watching this video at time of release. I've been extremely lucky to receive an early review copy from Games Workshop, so thank you very much to them for that. And in this video I'm going to go through my own experiences building these miniatures, getting to grips with the rules and playing my first game. Miniature Realms is proudly sponsored by Counter-Attack Bases. They stock a wide range of counters, gaming aids and movement trays for multiple game systems and offer custom items to suit your club, your event or even your podcast or YouTube channel. Check out the link in the video description. Games Workshop put out their own brief unboxing, and I think there's an unofficial unboxing been out for a few days as well, and I'm sure there are hundreds more out at the same time as this video, but I'm still going to go through what is in this box, and I'll try not to linger too long on every single component because that will be a little bit dry. But it's a big old hefty box, well presented as you can imagine for something of this price point and of this legacy of the Warhammer Quest games. Like many of you, I'm sure as soon as I found out about the release, I was really excited and I secretly hoped that I'd get sent a early review copy, but I didn't know for sure. I cover a lot of games on the channel, but not everything, and I didn't know what they were going to do with this one. So I was extremely excited when I got the email to say that these were arriving. And these are all push fit miniatures, and I'll spend a little bit more time talking about those when I talk about the building of them and show them while they're built. They're not all painted so far. I've painted one of them. You may have seen that already shared on my social media, and it's been on the Warcom article. But they're pretty cool, typical Games Workshop miniatures. You've got some dice there in a box. And overall, everything's to be expected so far. Good quality, modern Games Workshop miniatures in the AOS styling, because it's an AOS setting game. And I was really excited at this stage just to get building. Everything was quite well protected in the box. You have this separate box here with all your card stock and gaming aids and things in there as well, sealed so it can't be sort of damaged while I'm banging against other things. Then another bit of paper, and then of course we have the big tome, the big book, which is the multi-page book with all the maps to play the game. And I thought this is really cool. It's not new for gaming. Quite a few other games have done this, but I think this is the first time Games Workshop have used this method. I think it's ingenious, really cool. I love it. So let's delve into this box here. We'll break the seal and you can see what's inside. And this is obviously all of your game aids. So you have this quick play sheet and setup. These pages are repeated in the rule book as well, but it's always good if you want to get started straight away. And then you have loads and loads of these card packs, and they're all nicely sealed and labelled, and some of them say do not open until you get to a certain place in the game, which I think is pretty cool. And for that reason, I'm not opening these. I'm not going to show every one of these cards to you on the screen. I don't want to spoil it from anyone. I want people to be able to look at this review and then decide whether they want to buy it without spoiling all of the fun of the game. So I have still kept all of these sealed. I haven't made it onto any of those Act 2 or 3 yet, but I did like the way they're all sealed up and you can leave them packed like that until you need them. Lots of card in here to break up the different layers so it all fits in quite nicely. It was a bit of a jigsaw puzzle to get back in, but you obviously don't need to keep all of those things. Then you have your instruction guide with full colour, as you'd expect these days. They're push miniatures anyway, but it's still helpful. And then you have your card pieces as well, so all your counters, they're all double-sided, and you've got some extra terrain hexes as well. And then you have your rule book, so shiny cover, not too thick. There's not all that much in the way of heady rules in here, and we'll discuss that a little bit later on as well. This I love, a separate paper envelope, and notice all the paper here, the only plastic of the miniatures and the bases are card boxes that you can make up to put your card packs in afterwards, but then also when you're mid-game you can store your cards at a certain game state, which is great. But anyways, you can see we move on to the miniatures, and we have the heroes to start with. They are on a different colour frame to all of the evil
characters or the evil miniatures, and that's so you can play the game without painting the miniatures, and they stand out quite easily on the game board. And I'm treating this as a board game. As much as I'm a miniatures painter and love miniatures, I'm treating this as a board game, and it will probably take me quite a while to work my way through and paint all those miniatures. And over Christmas with my wife and boys, we will probably play quite a few of the rounds of this, of the different acts. At least that's the plan anyway. You've got this nice little thing you might be able to see on the inside page of the instructions there, where you can measure the size of the bases, because each miniature tells you what size they need, and you've got a big bag of lots of different sizes. So you want to make sure you can just measure it up on that little guide. I thought that was quite fun. And the miniatures are pretty straightforward to go together, in fact incredibly easy. Sometimes I've found in the past that when I'm building the push fit miniatures, they don't go together very well. I found I maybe need to trim down the odd little pin here or there to make sure that the fit is snug, or trim them off altogether. I didn't find that was so much of a problem here at all. You have to squeeze quite hard to get them to really snap in tight. But I ended up not gluing a lot of these. Quite often with push fit, I think, hey, I'm a modeler, I can paint, I can build stuff, I'll trim off the tabs and glue them together. It's really not needed, in my opinion, for these. If you were going to paint them to a display level, you'd absolutely want to be gap filling and things. But for most people, just clipping them together as they are is absolutely fine. I think the quality of the sculpts is absolutely fine. Their poses are pretty cool. They're pretty crisp in most cases. They're not the most detailed of Games Workshop miniatures out there at all, but I think that might be partly the nature of the push fit. But I'm still pretty impressed with them, and the heroes are great. There's a real range of different types, and I'm a fan of older fantasy, and there's some nods to that in some of these, and I wonder if that's a really deliberate attempt to make sure that while this game is set in Age of Sigmar rather than the older fantasy, players that might be interested in picking up this game may also be older fantasy players that don't play Age of Sigmar. So making sure that your Edmark Valorand, the knight, has sort of elements of Empire and also elements of Bretonnia in there. I think that's important. I imagine it's deliberate as well. The dwarf or Duarden being more of a regular ranger style dwarf, I think, is important as well. Bren Tillis has got sort of Bretonian aspects as well. If you look at Inara Sion, the cleansing blade, again you've got the idea of maybe an outcast wizard or a Bretonian damsel feel going on there as well, along with the more sort of AOS centric Kalanathor, the forest prince. Even Jacobus Vime, the jade wizard, could be perfect for a Bretonian or an Empire army as a wizard. Definitely Empire jade wizard, I suppose. So I like what they've done there. I think that's deliberate. I think they're beautiful miniatures. I think it's the evil characters where this set really shines, in my opinion. And I'm normally a good leaning player in games. I'm normally drawn to the good factions, but these miniatures are just stunning, and I think they are a step up in quality of sculpting, in my opinion. But in particular, the really gross Nurgle side of this. Nurgle always looks great as a miniature. Loads of fun opportunities for painting, and all of these are absolutely excellent. The Beastman character is brilliant. All of the Nurgle characters are amazing, and I really love the Nurgle Chaos Warriors. The armor is fantastic, and all the grossness of the deformity is there, and these stand up really well. And I do wonder whether we'll see these individually as part of an AOS faction, and maybe that's why the styling is slightly different to the characters that maybe you'll only see in this box. I don't know, it's pure speculation, but I think these are super strong, and they are my favourites and the ones I'm looking forward to painting the most, for sure. And a brief note on the remaining evil characters, your kind of foot troops, your pestigors, and all of your sort of Nurgle zombies. The pestigors are amazing. They would be absolutely fantastic on square bases as an old world lover. Whether you could get enough of them to make units out of at an affordable cost, I'm not so sure. But they are wonderful, and we'll have to see how available this game is. You may already know when you're watching this, I'm recording this before the release, it may have already sold out in 5 minutes flat, which they tend to do. I hope that's not the case. I hope they are well stocked. I hope it's something that's going to be restocked, and these miniatures are available. But the pestigors are lovely. I'd love to add some on square bases to units in my old world armies for sure, and all of the miniatures have enough character and enough variety. So while they push together, you've got a lot of different options available on the Pestigores, different options for weapons, so you can choose. You get 2 different sculpts, quite a lot of variety for what is push fit, and again that just really lends towards, I think, the stronger offering in terms of miniature quality is the evil side, is the foes in this box by far. They just really stand out for me in quality of sculpts. In terms of overall gaming pieces, all the miniatures across the board I'm very impressed with. I wouldn't expect anything else, if I'm honest with you. I would expect them to be super good and super strong across the board for this kind of release, this kind of price. We should expect that as gamers, and I think they've delivered for it. Final little note on miniatures. This chap here I painted as part of a painting tutorial that is coming up in a few days' time. I also needed to paint a miniature to send in for the Warcom article, and this was the one I chose. And that's why there's only 1 miniature paint in this box. It's purely based on time. I had the new Chaos Marauders to paint at the same time, along with loads of other things and other work. So that's all I could do, but I'm really itching to go back and do the rest. So that's a feel for the miniatures and the place I always go to first when it comes to games. I'm a painter. I love toy soldiers. That's why I do this channel and make these videos, and I'm sure many of you are the same. So I always go there before rules. But I do want to spend a little bit of time now just showing you through some of the game components and the rule book, so you get a little bit of an idea of what the game might be like to play as well. So as already mentioned at the top of the video, I'm not going to be opening up all those card packs and spoiling all of the cards, both sides, etc, etc. I want to enjoy the game as a player and not spoil the things for me, and I'm sure you do as well. But I do have to open the initial card packs in order to play those first games. So I'm just giving you an idea here of what they look like, the quality you can expect. You've already seen those in some of the official stuff from Games Workshop as well, and probably other unboxings. Nothing to write home about at all. They are lovely cards, nicely printed, lovely artwork, and they do the job that they are supposed to do. Decent enough size so they don't take up too much table space. You do need a lot of these laid out, so your kitchen table, if you're playing on that, will be quite full at the end of it. But again, they're about the right size. You wouldn't want them much smaller, and it's nice that they're slightly smaller than your kind of average playing card style. So your first act pack has all of your mission cards essentially, and they tell you what enemies you are facing against, and they will have special rules, little notes and things as well, and there's loads in there. So there's loads of different variations and things in the game, and I've not gone through them all or read them all. And in that pack you also have your character stat cards as well. So you've got your stats on one side, a health marker, a picture of them, and a little bit of lore as well, which is all you need to really play the game. All the artwork you'll have seen before, the pictures of the studio painted miniatures you'll have seen before as well, and you've also got the evil characters as well rather than the grunts. So everything you need to play the game, nicely presented. You flick them over and you use them in game, so you're using counters on some of the health charts and that kind of stuff. So the rule book is shiny full cover. It's each card on the outside but thin card. You've got a quick reference sheet on the back. It's only about 35 pages as well. You've got a full index on the inside. Lots of beautiful full colour pictures and lore in here as well. So the rules is quite light. As we delve into the book, you can see the first bit of nice artwork, a little bit of lore to settle the scene with Guy around. And I know very little about Age of Sigmar lore, so we'll leave it there. And then you have the core rules laid out in this sort of get you going scenario, which you also have as a really big sheet as well, which is usually a bit of a box protector, and it plays you through your first encounter. So it's basically just repeating what's on that big sheet and plays it through on the first few pages, teaching you the basic rules as you go on how to maneuver, how to use your actions, and how the enemies maneuver as well. And these are nice dice system you roll to get them to perform their actions, whether they're advancing and fighting, repositioning, or double advancing, etc, etc. So there's a nice game mode that you could maybe use in other games, just using those dice to control your enemies if you're a solo gamer. So you can play this solo or with others you're playing against the game, which is always really nice as well. You don't really require a GM to do this, though someone could run the evil side for you as well. It's very, very clearly laid out, and as I've said a few times, there's very little rules in it, so it doesn't take too long to get your head around what to do. Saying that, there are a little bits here and there where I think the wording could be a little bit clearer, or it feels like it doesn't explain enough, and I was asking questions about, well, what does that mean? Does that mean something else? But you get your head around it initially, and just practicing in that initial sort of learning scenario is a good way of doing it. I think my main learn there was not to dive just for the get you going sheet without having a read through the rules first. There's so few rules that it doesn't take long to have a quick read and then turn to the get you going, that first setup to teach you the game sheet first. Sometimes with a how to play starter thing, you can literally work your way through that first half a turn and you learn everything you needed. But I went straight to that and immediately came up with some questions that I could have got my head around if I just read the sort of the 8 pages or so of pure rules that are there. So that'll be my only tip. Read those bits. We all learn rules in different ways. I'm a very visual learner. I like someone to show me how to play a game rather than tell me how to play a game. If people tell me how to play a game, it just goes out over my head because my brain can't focus on it. I'm too busy looking at pretty pictures of miniatures. But it's an easy enough game to get your head around. But I do recommend skim reading the whole rules first before you start that first learning scenario. Then we get onto the lore-ish part of the book. I love this map. I love maps as it is anyway, and this is multi-level, which is really cool. And there's lots of nice lore about where you're fighting, where this adventure is taking place, and it's just full of really, really beautiful artwork. And you've got a nice little bit here about the characters, so the pictures of the miniatures again, and a little bit about each character. You see that on the cards, and then the same for the foes, for the evil Nurgle forces that the heroes are up against. Again, beautiful pictures of the studio painted miniatures to give you loads of inspiration for painting your own miniatures. And another reason why I went straight to painting Molgoth the Cleaver when I got a chance to. And there's even a very, very short guide there on building and painting, including a QR code, which I haven't tried out yet, but maybe it'll be live by the time you watch this. And of course we have the game board, which is the book, and I wasn't sure whether to show you every single map without spoil it for you, but I didn't want to just show you the initial page, so I thought we'd flick through a couple to give you a little bit of an idea. I'm sure somewhere out there we'll do a full reveal, so if you want to see every map, I'm sure you'll have access to it. But I wanted to give you a quick flick through some of the pages so you can see the quality of the artwork, which I think is fantastic. And the pages do go nice and flat to play, which is quite important. And this is that sort of get you started sheet, and armed with that, my son and I did our first playthrough, which was what I was referencing a few moments ago. And Cleanse the Spawn Pit is what you're playing for that first teacher thing. And like I said, go and read the rules once first before you do this. Don't do what I did and think that you can just work your way through. You can, but you might have a few more questions while you do it. But between us, we managed to work it out. I think it's because we played other games that we question things. Why is that done in that way? Whereas there's a little bit more explanation, obviously, in the full rules. But it was fun and really, really simple. Most of the attacks and movements and things are on your stat cards. You know what you need to be rolling, how many dice to roll, what you need to hit, and then what you need to be saving to save your characters from damage. And then there are special rules about spawning your other characters and things as well. And we had lots of fun doing it, and it's perfect to sit down and play with my boys. Now, because I haven't worked through all of the other acts, I don't know how deep it goes. This sort of initial scenario there is really just to teach you the basic mechanics, so I haven't experienced it in its full depth to know how much narrative comes through, how hard it is, and whether it is just going around bashing enemies in dungeon corridors, which of course is an element of it, but it's hard to know how much the game expands beyond that. There's definitely room for it. There's plenty of lore you can see written, so I imagine we'll see lots of that and you'll feel the pressure more, but it feels Hero Quest-ish because of the set board in some ways as well. But something my son said straight away is it just feels a bit like when we sit down to play Hero Quest, which I don't think is ever a bad thing. All in all, it's not a cheap set, and everyone watching this video will know that. But there's a lot in the set as well. If you think the board is a big hardback book, full colour, and there's lots of miniatures as well. So value, that's up to you. We all have our own sort of what we pin a price on to value. For some people it will be too much for what it is. Some people it will be something they've got to have. But I think price aside, because that is very much a personal thing. I think the set's fantastic, and I think the game could be really fun to play with your friends. And I, as a parent, am really looking forward to getting stuck in with my boys playing this game, and my wife as well, especially over the Christmas period where we've got time to play games, and we play lots of games like this. And I love the idea of working through the different maps and the different acts and really enjoying getting stuck into that adventure and trying to see if we can get to the end. And maybe I'll do a follow-up video once we've played some more and we'll see how the depth of the game and expansion, but my first impressions of it are absolutely fantastic for that reason. I think there's going to be lots of depth here. The quality of all the components is fantastic. The miniatures are great. I'm really looking forward to getting stuck in. I think a lot of these miniatures have got some use in other games that I've already touched upon. I'd love to put square bases on some of these, but the ones I've got here are going to be safe for this game, and I'm going to keep it as a box game and enjoy it as that. I'm hoping it's going to be readily available enough that I can maybe pick up some of these miniatures online to use on different things. And if you're interested, let me know in the comments. I may do a video on what miniatures will fit on what bases and what they could maybe be used for in Warhammer the Old World. So if you're interested enough in that, and enough people tell me they are, I might make a short video of that. So pop that in the comments if you are. Let me know what you think. Have you picked this up? Have you already pre-ordered it? I'm hoping it's still in stock. Are you going to pre-order it? Is it something for Christmas? I'd love to find out what you think, whether you like it or not. I know it will be polarizing, I imagine, because it's a Games Workshop product and it's an expensive Games Workshop product, and it always brings out a mix of opinions. But I think it's a fun game as it is, and hopefully people will see it as that, and the people that want to get their hands on it can get their hands on it. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a like, drop me a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. If you're finding this channel for the first time because you've come for this review, look at all of the other content on the channel. Loads of Games Workshop stuff, loads of Warhammer the Old World, but lots of other game systems things as well, including lots of painting tutorials, including the up-and-coming one in a few days' time for that lovely Nurgle warrior. So do look out for that. If you'd like to support me even further, please do check out all the links in my video description, including my Patreon. Thank you to all of my existing patrons. You really help keep the lights on the channel. But please also check out my channel sponsor, Counterattack Bases. Join my channel's Discord, which is free to do so as well. But thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you soon.